Hey guys, how's it going? It's Goose here. Now I know what you're thinking. The Happy Mask Salesman Pure Evil Theory video. What is this? Now, I know this is a little out of what I usually do on this channel, but if you're a Zelda fan or you're a fan of Zelda in general, I think you'll find this quite interesting. Now, this is a theory video, and yes, with theories comes this.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
But for the most part, the majority of this video series is going to be based on facts taken from the games and Hyrule Historia. Yes, I do use some of my own opinions and interpretations, but this wouldn't be called a theory if I didn't have these qualities in it as well. Now, another thing, this theory contains a couple of theories put together in order to fit my conclusion. Some of these theories are known, and some of these theories aren't really known. I've kind of figured them out on my own. But because of this, I'm going to have to start from scratch so everyone is on the same page when I'm going through this. Because of this, it's going to be very long, and I'm most likely going to have to split this up into different parts. But even though it's going to be long, trust me, if you are really a dedicated fan to Zelda or a fan of Zelda and the series in general, you will not be disappointed with what I'm going to tell and show you. With no further ado, here it is, the Happy Mask Salesman Pure Evil Theory. Now, before I talk about the Happy Mask Salesman, I have to talk about something that I call the Two Tribes Theory. Now, in the beginning of Skyward Sword, it tells us that the earth cracked and a malevolent force came out. In this picture, you see Demise, but he isn't alone. He has people or things behind him that aided him in fighting the humans on land. In the Hyrule Historia, it says, many demons arose in pursuit of the Triforce. The leader Demise, the Demon King, tried to take over the world with his evil power. As you know, at the end of Skyward Sword, when Demise is defeated by Link, Link has a curse put on him that Demise's evil will follow him and future generations for all of time. Now, throughout the series, you come in contact with bad guys, be it Majora's Mask, Ganondorf, and everyone else basically in the series. But something you guys have to remember is that all of these guys are basically reincarnations of Demise. Now remember, when Demise was defeated by Link in Skyward Sword, his minions also didn't disappear. The book specifically says that after he died, he was sealed away, meaning Demise. And then it goes on to say the demons on the surface no longer terrorized its inhabitants. Now this even shows that the demons were still on the land when he was gone and are still there. But no one knows really, I guess, what happened to them. They either went into hiding or something like that. But I'll get back to this in a little bit. In Majora's Mask, it is said that Majora's Mask belonged to a tribe that used it in rituals and hexes. This tribe soon became too powerful with the magic and had the mask taken away from them and sealed into the darkness. And after this happened, this tribe disappeared. In Twilight Princess, the Twilly are descendants of the Interlopers, who were a group of people that were part of a tribe who tried to seize control of the Sacred Realm after the creation of the Triforce. The Interlopers were then banished into the Twilight Realm because they were too proficient in magic and tried to use that magic to take over the Sacred Realm. Now these two in Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess seem to possess a great connection. And remember that after Demise was killed by Link in Skyward Sword, his minions were still around, who were probably the Interlopers, who were the tribe that tried to take down the Sacred Realm, who were also mentioned in Majora's Mask, which Majora's Mask came from. On top of all this, remember that Demon's goals were to take the Triforce. Also, many of the same symbols in Majora's Mask appear in Twilight Princess, even suggesting more of the fact that these tribes were one and the same. Look at this picture. Look at Ganondorf's armor. Now, as you can see, look at his chest. You can see the eyes of Majora on it. But this was just concept art. This wasn't even implemented in the game. Now, look at the Fused Shadow Mask as well. As you can see, it has the same thing that Majora's Mask has too. Now, getting to the Happy Mask Salesman. The Happy Mask Salesman name doesn't really make sense at all. He always has this fake smile all the time and gets angry very easily. He has these bursts of rage in which his eyes turn red and he goes crazy, only to snap back to his fake happy smile and happy self moments later. This makes me think that there's something deeper to him that meets the eye. I feel as though he is hiding something underneath himself. To continue to show his knowledge, he also knows about every single mask Link brings to him in the game. He seems to know a lot about old ancient ones too, and about everything else there is to know. He even talks about Majora's Mask, saying it was an accursed mask from legend and is said to have been used by an ancient tribe in its hexing rituals. The ancient ones, fearing such catastrophe, sealed the mask in shadow forever, preventing its misuse. But now that tribe from the legend has vanished, so no one really knows the nature of the mask's power. Now how does he know this? If the tribe vanished after being punished by the ancients, who are also gone, how does he know? He seems to know a lot about things that he really shouldn't, unless he was alive during that time and potentially was a part of that tribe, but why wasn't he also banished to the Twilight Realm? As you know, the Happy Mask Salesman sells masks. He sells disguises to people, changing what they look like and who they are. He sells people the ability to literally hide their true self in order to trick and deceive people. Do you guys get where I'm going with this? Even in the game in Majora's Mask, Link has to wear masks in order to talk to certain people who otherwise wouldn't interact with him. He gains the ability to disguise himself from the Happy Mask Salesman. Now, what is to say that the Happy Mask Salesman himself isn't wearing a mask to disguise who he is? He is this master of disguise. He carries them all on his back and everything like that. So who's to say that he's not trying to disguise the fact that he was a part of an ancient tribe who tried to take over a sacred realm, and is a minion of Demise? He wants to be able to interact with people in this time to further his goals, so he has to disguise himself accordingly to attain that goal. If we look on his back, he has all these masks of various people, which also contain various powers. Now, why is he collecting these? In Ocarina of Time, he has his Happy Mask store where he sells masks to people, but these don't contain any or little power, if any. He calls himself a traveler who goes around searching for masks. I felt that this is one of the reasons why he escaped from being banished to the Twilight Realm when his tribe was. As a traveler, he was wandering around the world trying to search for power to aid his tribe. Maybe he wasn't around at the point when they were banished. But let's continue. We'll get back to this later. But being a traveler, how did he get to Termina? In Hyrule Historia, it says that there is one forest that connects Hyrule to Termina, and the Happy Mask Salesman seems to know which one it is. Though it doesn't say much, it just adds on to the vast amount of knowledge that he knows. The reason I feel that he was in Hyrule during Ocarina of Time was because he was searching for a mask or some type of power there. Once Ganondorf, aka a reincarnation of Demise, came into power, he must have been instructed to leave Hyrule by Ganondorf or left on his own to search for masks or powers elsewhere. In Ocarina of Time, you will notice that the Happy Mask Salesman does not appear in the adult timeline at all. He simply isn't there and isn't in any of the adult timeline games after that either. He only remains in the child timeline games. For such an insignificant character, the writer seemed to want to keep this suspiciously consistent. Now, enough about what we know about the Happy Mask Salesman. Let's get into some dialogue and answer some questions we have. Starting with, why would he be wearing a mask himself? Look at everyone else that has openly showed themselves as being evil or having connection to Demise. They were all killed by Link throughout the entire Zelda universe. So why would the Happy Mask Salesman not cover up who he really is while gaining this power? It would seem idiotic to expose yourself to the guy whose main purpose in life and for the rest of time is to kill people like you. Also remember, the Happy Mask Salesman in Majora's Mask just lost this evil mask and needs to get it back. Who else is better than defeating evil than the Chosen One himself? So basically, to answer why he wears the mask question...
But I couldn't have anybody see my face, Steven. Come on!
Right after Link comes out of the sewers as a Duku Scrub, the Happy Mask Salesman says one of the most memorable lines in the entire game. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Now this guy seems to be in the right place at the right time, doesn't he? And the way he says it laughingly kind of suggests that he has something sinister on his mind. A way to get back the mask without doing anything falls right in his lap. He goes on to say that he needs to get the mask back and he can't do it himself because he's a busy man. He also says, why to someone like you, it should be by no means a difficult task. You'll do fine. I see you are young and have tremendous courage. I'm sure you'll find the right way. Now this part of the dialogue I feel gives him away completely. He says he is busy and he can't get the mask back himself, yet the entire game he is in the clock tower. This is just an excuse to not get it back himself. Why would you ask a child to get a mask back that contains great evil? Because that makes any sense. Second, he says that Link has tremendous courage. Now remember that Link contains the Triforce of Courage, but how does the Happy Mask Salesman know that or feel that? He must know exactly who Link is and what he did in the past. He also makes it seem like this would be an easy job for Link, which also reinforces the fact that he knows what Link is capable of doing. He then goes on to say, so here I am at a loss, and now I've found you. Now don't think me to be rude, but I have been following you, for I know of a way to return you to your former self. So why has he been following Link, and how does he know how to turn people back into their normal forms? How did he even know that this wasn't Link's original form? He must be able to see through people's disguises and know exactly who they are. He talks about being a traveler and says, I travel far and wide in search for masks. During my travels, a very important mask was stolen from me by an imp in the woods. He just told us that the mask was sealed in darkness by the gods for all time. How did he get it? The only logical explanation is that he too possesses some type of power that would allow him to get that mask. Being a mask of such evil power, also who would give it up to him if he didn't take it by force, and why would he want it? He also says, and I must leave this place in 3 days, knowing that the moon is falling and going to kill everything in the area if he doesn't get it by then. What's suspicious about him knowing that the moon is falling is that nobody else in the town seems to notice or care that it is falling. I mean, that seems kind of weird that everyone's going to die from this moon coming down and hitting it, but no one else seems to give 2 cents about it. Now, he says earlier on, I went to great lengths to get this legendary mask. When I finally had it, I could sense doom of a dark omen brewing. It was an unwelcome feeling that makes your hair stand on end. He says that the true nature of the mask is unknown, yet he can sense this evil in the mask. And also the fact that he could sense Link's courage kind of suggests that he has these powers to feel who people are. Remember that he even knew that Link's form as a Duku wasn't his true form. So this is the end of part 1. In my part 2 video, I'm going to talk more about the story in general, and also some of the story from Twilight Princess, and show you how they connect. I'm even going to talk about the timeline a little more. And one thing that I'm also going to talk about that I think is very interesting is my theory called the song theory. I'm going to be talking about the Song of Healing and Saria's song. But till then, guys, thanks for watching.